relatives and well-wishers, pallbearers, if you could please remain alongside the casket, at least you're 1 meter away from the casket. If you could please stand for attention. John and his immediate family members will also stand at the 30 seats allocated to you. Friends and relatives and other well-wishers who have come to pay their last respects, you will also stand at the seat that you have identified for yourself. கவுன் பாதனமோ நமஸ்தம். ஓம் உலகில் எல்லாம் உடர்ந்து மோதற்கங் அறியவன் நில உலாவியர் மணிவேணியன் அழகச் சோதியவன் அம்பலத்தில் ஆடுவான் மலர் சிலம்பும் அடி வாழ்த்தி வணங்குவான். ஓம் அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி கணிகரும் கருணை ஆண்டவனே திருசற்றம்பல நடராஜ பெருமானே தேவனே, தங்கள் திருவருளால் மரணமடைந்த காலம் சென்ற பெரியார் கோவிந்தசாமி ஜான் பங்கன் அவருடைய குடும்பத்தினர்கள் மிக துக்கத்தில் இருக்கின்ற குடும்பத்தினர்கள் இப்பேற்பட்ட பூஜை நடக்கும் வரும் காலத்தில் சீர்பெற்ற மூஷிகண மீதேறி வந்த முன்ன சிங்கார ஜோதி மன்னன் பார்வதியம் பரவணம் முருகனோடு மாணவர் ரிஷி முனிவர் சித்தாரெண்ணம் கார்மேக வண்ணனம் கஞ்சனம் ஜெய ஜெய கணபதியுடைய எண்ணம் பேர் பெற்ற தேவயன் சிந்தையில் விளையாடும் என்றார். ஏன் என்றால், மரணமடைந்த காலம் சென்ற மதிப்புக்குரிய பெரியார் திரு கோவிந்தசாமி ஜான் பொங்கன் அவர்களுடைய ஆத்மா தன் தேகத்தை விட்டு நீங்கியவில்லை. Once again, my humble vanakkam to you ladies and gentlemen, dear friends and relatives. We celebrate today the life of a man who can at best be described as one of the last batch of children of indenture. My uncle, Thai Mamanagi, Tiruvala John Pongan, although he was a geography teacher, ladies and gentlemen, he always made it a point to commence any of his speeches by quoting from history, and usually he'll delve into his own genealogical background, quoting from his mom and dad's history. In fact, he was the first speaker before Bobina began to become the Pungan family's spokesperson. Jonathan was the one who used to deliver speeches at funerals, weddings, and other functions. So allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to take you back in time. The date, Monday, the 12th of October, 1931. The cries of a newborn child could be heard through the sugarcane fields on the groom's estate side of the untarred, corrugated mud road. The homestead was a beautiful tin house opposite Park's shop in Inland. The newborn, ladies and gentlemen, was the 9th child and the 5th son, born to Pungan, colonial number 130575, and Toyi Pongan, colonial number 130576. And the child that was born to this very, very innovative and hardworking and diligent couple was our dear Govindsamy John Pungan, who we bid farewell to today, ladies and gentlemen. Pongan Velen and Toyi were very thrifty and enterprising and had entered the free labor market after serving their 5-year agreement with the Natal European planters. They leased about 100 acres of land opposite Park's shop and commenced their own gardening as well as their sugarcane plantation. And in the garden, they grew pineapples, yams, bananas, pawpaws, pumpkins, green beans, and these were transported to the Verlam market and also to the Durban Indian morning market in Warwick Avenue in Durban. Ladies and gentlemen, at this stage, allow me to read a message of condolence that comes from the Verlam Sports Council. To the family of the late Mr. John Pongan, on behalf of the sporting fraternity of Verlam and the surrounding areas, our deepest condolences to the family of the late Mr. John Pongan. Apart from the many community-based organizations Mr. Pongan served, he also served in the management committee of the Verlam Sports Council as a representative of the Verlam Bowling Club. In fact, he was the inaugural chairperson of the Verlam Bowling Club, which provided sport and active aging for mainly senior citizens of Verlam. As an elder in the committee, and through his vast experience in administration, he provided wise counsel on numerous matters that needed a resolution. He added value to the Sports Council, an organization he was proud to be part of and supported wholeheartedly. After the formation of the Verlam Bowling Club, the Sports Council successfully got the North Local Council to purchase the Canelands Country Club, which included the bowling green from Armstrong. At a grand function hosted by the Verlam Sports Council, sports personalities were recognized and presented with an award for their contribution to sports in Verlam. Mr. John Pongan was a recipient of such an award for his contribution to sport and in particular bowling. Rest in peace, Mr. John Pungan. Mackie Woodley, former president of the Veteran Sports Council. We have a number of such messages coming in, ladies and gentlemen, and at regular intervals, I'll be reading them out to you. At this juncture, allow me to once again introduce to you Innise Kacheri Gupta Tilsir Dirikam, Ise Manuna Rai here, Shaib Govindsamy now. Shaib will now lead us into some devotional hymns. people like Mr. John Pongan are indeed a rare find today, especially now that we are entering the age of artificial intelligence. Many of those who were born to indenture are no more with us. Much of the early history of the indentured Indians would be quite difficult for today's generations to understand or even believe. All the comforts and the conveniences of this artificial intelligence generation generation, the present generation, takes for granted were quite unknown to our forefathers, including Mr. John Pungan. The horse, the ox, and the donkey wagon supplied the only forms of mobility for work, and the homes were constructed of manhandled materials, primitive by today's standards. Even Toi and Pungan were asked to build their hut in one day out of grass and thatch. Homes were lighted after dark only by candles, paraffin, lanterns, or wicks soaked in oil and held in clay lamps. And the Kamachya Mabulik also spread a soft glow throughout the homestead, which incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, were given a green scrub. Although they were poor, those houses were well taken care of. And right until the end, all the Pungan siblings, Pungavanam siblings, were very, very preoccupied with cleanliness. You give them a plate, they'll wipe that plate and then use it. You give them a spoon, they will take a dishcloth, wipe that spoon, and then use it. And I remember my mom, that is Mr. John Pungan's sister, who used to use this word, you'd rather be a decent coolie. And I used to wonder why she uses this word. You'd rather be a decent coolie. Why do you want to? And for her, anything that was out of its place was dirt. And I know it's the same for my uncle. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pongan family, the Pongan couple, that is Toi and Velen, they were very, very an enterprising couple, and they made significant economic strides. And even their youngest born, John, used to join his brothers and his nephews in ploughing the fields with the cow and mule drawn ploughs, tending to the livestock, cutting off tops for the mules and the cows, and even attending to the chores on the farm. But John and his nephews also went to school. And this is where the difference came, ladies and gentlemen. Education is understood by many, not excluding my illiterate grandparents, as a fundamentally optimistic human endeavor characterized by aspirations for progress, aspirations for advancement, for improvement, and aspirations for the betterment of the human condition. Both Toi and Velen, that is John Pungan's parents, they understood education to be a means of overcoming material deprivation. They understood education to be a means of overcoming the difficult times in which they were entrapped. And they saw education as a means of achieving greater equality and acquiring wealth and status. In fact, one of the greatest factors that led to the upward mobility of the Indian people in this country has been their legendary and tremendous dedication to the cause of education. From rudimentary education on the farms, onto the missionary schools like the one run by Olive Warner in Inanda, which John and I attended, and finally to colleges and universities, like in the case of Mr. John Pongan. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a saga worthy of emulation. At this juncture, it is only fitting that I read a message that comes from the Verulam Retired Teachers Society. Our singular condolences to dear Doreen, the Pongan and the Kirsten families. Mr. John Pongan lived a life rich in wisdom, compassion, and purpose. He was a person of great warmth, kindness, and humility. Today we mourn the loss of such a beloved soul. But we also celebrate a life well lived, a life that made a difference. Mr. Pongan, Mr. John Pongan, was one of the founding members of the Verulam Retired Teachers Society, which was established on the 26th of August 1992. During the first 4 years, from 1992 to 1996, he served as the vice chairperson, and from 1996 to 2000, he occupied the position of chair of this very illustrious institution. Therefore, he remained as an active member until 2023, when he resigned due to ill health. During his term of office, Mr. Pungan organized long trips that were thoroughly enjoyed by all members. He also introduced various codes of games and sport to the members at the Canelands Country Club. He was instrumental in the formation of the Verulam Bowling Club. Let us carry forward Mr. Pungan's legacy by embracing kindness, compassion, patience, and resilience in our own lives. Though John will no longer be with us in body, his spirit will endure and continue to inspire and uplift us, the members of the Verulam Retired Teachers Society. Rest in peace, Mr. John Pongan. You will be deeply missed, but never forgotten. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, I want to read a message that was prepared by my cousin, Kubalan Kristen. Kubalan found it difficult. He says he will not manage to come and speak on Jonana's life and to present this eulogy, and he asked me to kindly do this for him. The officiating priest, the MC, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, Vanakkam and good afternoon. The past 2 years have been very painful and difficult for the Pongan family, but today we have gathered here because we lost the patriarch of the Pongan clan, a caring father, a friendly father-in-law, a wonderful uncle, a doting grandfather, a great-granddad par excellence, and a loving husband. But most of all, we have lost a beautiful human being whose kind and gentle ways found a lasting place in all our hearts. From humble beginnings, this son of indentured laborers climbed up the ladder of success against all odds and eventually reached the upper echelons of the teaching fraternity and made an indelible mark on society. Such is the caliber of this fine gentleman, a loving uncle, the late Mr. John Pongan. He laid roots in education which germinated into the love of teaching amongst the entire and extended Pongan family. Fruits of this bears testimony in the principals, the deputies, the heads of departments, and a host of subject specialists: English, Afrikaans, mathematics, sciences, humanities, art, music, drama, etc. in this huge family. The most important component of human life is the relationships we forge and nurture with other human beings. Throughout his life, Mr. John Pongan, our Jonana, had a wonderful relationship with all those he came into contact with. Whether they were family, whether they were relatives, or even friends, and whether they were the older generation or the younger generation, or even his own contemporaries, he knew exactly how to relate to them, respectful to elders, friendly and cheerful with his peers and companions, and very playful and mischievous with the younger generation. It did not matter to him whether it was his family or Aunt Doreen's family. Everyone was special and treated as special. It was this quality of his that endeared him to all those he came into contact with or associated. Inwardly, Jonana was a deeply spiritual person with an unshakable belief in God and the power of prayer. Jonana's life was an open book, no falsity or subterfuge in his makeup, no pretense at all. What you see is what you get, and you get liberal doses of his wit, charm, and his cheer. And this is what my uncle Jonana was to everyone. But each of us has a memory that is special to us in terms of our relationship with him. Incidentally, when Jonana was a principal in Chatsworth, I was appointed as a first-year teacher in Highlands, also in Chatsworth. And your advice to me when I went overseas: please travel extensively and read. Ensure your sons study overseas, and they did. Please come back to South Africa, and we did. Pay off your mortgage, and we did. Buy yourself a new car, and we did. Jonana, K. and Raju, the late Vardhi Rangan, and I used to travel together. I am truly proud and greatly indebted to you, Jonana. I learned so much from the mature conversations that you gentlemen used to have in the vehicle. Throughout his life, Jonana led an active life. Right until late last week, I knew he was very active on Facebook and social media. And with regards to this area in which we live, I used to update him and keep him informed of the times when the refuse was to be collected, load shedding, water shedding, etc. Therefore, I honor you today, Jonana, as a wonderful uncle. We are blessed to have had you as the head, as the patriarch of our family. You have accomplished a lifetime of successes. You had a lifetime of experiences, and you fulfilled a lifetime of dreams. You have so much to be proud of, and so do those that know and appreciate you. Please, may God grant you eternal peace and keep you in the palm of his hands until we all meet again. Please take care of Reversion once you are there. America. Farewell. Rest in peace. Nandri, thank you, and Barakum. This comes from Kubalan, Kirsten, and that comes with so much of love. It is difficult for me also, ladies and gentlemen, to stand in front of you and address you the way I'm doing, but I'll try to get through today's program as best as I could. Ladies and gentlemen, much of what Kubal said there is so very true. In fact, when knowledge speaks, wisdom listens. And Jonana, in all his association with people, he was an active listener as well as a very, very intelligent speaker. They say when all that we have learnt has been forgotten, what remains is called wisdom. And Jonana was a man who was known for his wisdom. He was able to lead with the greatest amount of compassion, and he introduced systems, procedures, and various facilities in place for meaningful administration, not only of schools, but in all the other institutions that he served. I'm going to introduce to you Mr. Reagan Padiveru, who is going to speak to you. But before I do that, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Pungan, as you all know, was born 6 years before Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. That was in 1937. From the khaki-clad farm boy plowing the fields in Inanda to the 5 academic graduation caps and gowns that he wore, he straddled over 6 generations. Amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Here you have a man who straddled over 6 generations. He lived through the very, very atrocious times of colonial rule. He experienced the hardships that go hand in hand with the heinous apartheid regime. And he also was there during the glorious years when our country freed itself from the shackles of apartheid and gained its new freedom. A man who plowed the fields in Inanda. You all know what mankati is. Throwing the mankati at each other, nephews and themselves. And I had my uncle Anna, who also was a very, very temperamental somebody. And if you didn't do what he did, you know when Mankati was coming in your direction. John Anna wore 5 academic gowns and caps. He straddled 6 generations. Different generations are often named using a system of letters or descriptive terms. These names help to categorize and understand people based on their birth year and the historical context in which they grew up. I guess Michelle's message to Daddy on his 93rd birthday best encapsulates what I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen. I beg your indulgence to please read Michelle's message that she sent to John Anna 7 months ago. Michelle Surya Morgan on Facebook with her daddy, Mr. John Pungan, and 12 others. Happy 93rd birthday to a very special person we call Dad. No words can express how amazing you are. Your unconditional love, your guidance, support, commitment, honesty, and integrity make us proud to call you Daddy. These are the very qualities that have made you an esteemed leader and a pillar of strength in the community and in the family. Your ability to build influence, maintain a strong sense of communication, inspire others and keep them motivated with your quiet compassion are the qualities that make so many people look up to you, Daddy. We are certainly blessed to have you with us at this exceptional age. And not all heroes wear capes. Some are just exceptional human beings who serve humanity with uncompromising, strong moral values and ethics. From a little boy born on a farm in Inan, KwaZulu-Natal, 93 years ago, to a principal par excellence, an award-winning educationist, a strong and resilient community leader, a visionary, instrumental in creating our family book, which we will treasure for the rest of our lives. To an amazing husband, grandfather, thank you, thank you, thank you, Dad. You are without a doubt a man, not for all seasons. What I want to say here, Michelle says, you are a man for all generations. And this is where what I was speaking to you about ties up now, ladies and gentlemen. The sheer ease in which we have transited and transitioned from the silent generation. John Rowe was born. Those born before 1946 are called the silent generation. The sheer ease in which we have transitioned from the silent generation through the baby boomers, Gen X, the millennials, and to the Gen Alpha is an absolute wonder. You are truly an inspiration, Dad, and I often sit in total admiration of you as you navigate effortlessly through the various social media platforms, greeting us every morning with your good morning messages and keep on the goings on at our family home, whilst pedantically diarizing all that happens on a daily basis. From the words of the famous Ratan Tata, there are many times that I feel lonely about not having a wife or a family, and sometimes I long for it. He explained, whilst he enjoyed the freedom that came with not having to consider somebody else's feelings. There were times when the solitude felt overwhelming. These are the words of Ratan Tata, and Michelle goes on to complete a message to her daddy by saying, we want to say thank you to Mommy today also, Dad, for walking this journey by your side. Your best and strongest cheerleader, and also your critic. Thanks to you, Mommy. Thanks to you that we are here today. We are your legacy, Daddy, Mommy, and which will continue to live on for generations to come. Birthday blessings to you, Dad, on this special day. Love and blessings always. Reagan, I'll call you just now after the next 2 songs. principal, also being given the keys to open new schools, his management style and his personal ethos brought out the best in his management teams, in his governance units, in his academic and support staff, all those under his watch and all those under his supervision. And all this was done, ladies and gentlemen, in the best interest of teaching. And when we speak about John and I as a teacher, I know from first-hand experience at Hindu Institute in Cato Manor. Cato Manor was a rough area, ladies and gentlemen. Just like Depot Road in town, where he also served. These are rough areas. Depot Road attracted children from the magazine barracks as well as the railway barracks. And we had some ruffians amongst them. And even in the area of Cato Manor, where Mr. John Pungan served as the PSE teacher, PSC referring to the primary school certificate, which was about the highest that many would go to in those days. And he was the teacher entrusted to take those children through Standard 6 at Hindu Institute, and me and my two brothers and my sister were also pupils at that school. Learners is a new, and my uncle was a teacher at that school, not a facilitator. Right? And we were pupils. And I saw, you mention his name, dear ladies and gentlemen, both parents, who could be difficult at times, and pupils used to have the greatest amount of respect. They say you can only command respect if you yourself are respectful to others. And John and I came from a genealogy of great respect. Madippu. Madippu means respect. And growing up in the Pongan household, he was exposed. Pungan was a very, very strong man of strong character. He was a Sardar on the wattle plantations, a man who spoke out when it came to injustices. And that is why he had to languish for 5 days with his son Kistan and his wife in jail. So Pungavanam was a taskmaster, and Jonana too. He grew up with discipline, with dedication, with diligence, and I think the determination to be the best he can possibly be. And all that he did in education was in the best interest of teaching and learning. A man who in the education field pushed boundaries. He really pushed boundaries because he himself knows what it was, what it meant to turn adversity into opportunity. The numerous awards, the commendations, the certificates and trophies he received whilst in the service of the Department of Education. And at that time, Gabriel Crow was in charge, ladies and gentlemen, a very difficult man to deal with. And John and I received all these awards whilst he was in the teaching profession. And all these awards actually stand as a proud testimony to his astute leadership, his diligence, his dedication, his steadfast and unrelenting commitment in promoting, protecting and enhancing quality education. A truly homegrown leader whose personal achievements and successes from the abode of humility saw him introduce excellent systems, procedures and processes into school administration, something that set him apart and defined him as a principle of astute. Palime Asiriyar is a principal, an headmaster, and he did his work with distinction. Speaking about education, ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, it is my pleasure to call to the podium Mr. Prem Ramsuru, who will speak about his association with Mr. John Pongan.
Director of Ceremonies, Vaipuri, respects to you, sir. Mrs. Dori Pungan, I lovingly call her Mum every time I met her. The immediate Pungan family. Indeed, when I got the call yesterday morning from Reuben that my mentor, my great leader, my great experienced, professional, standout school principal passed on. I went back to ask the question, why didn't I make the last call? Because when I looked at my WhatsApp, my last discussion with him was in March 2025 this year. I do know that every time I sent him a message, his reply was instant, and I do know that Mum shared that as well. It is great sadness that an individual who played such great pivotal role in the lives of individuals, especially as Mr. Kriba, who is also a retired principal from the Chatsworth area. Indeed, when I look back at my leader's demise, I try to work out how do we celebrate his life. I find it a very great privilege to stand before you all as part of the congregation and for me to reminisce on the life, the values, and the leadership that he provided to me when I arrived at Woodview Primary School in 1989. Mr. Pongan had already arrived there in 1988, and that was a P4 principalship position, and I arrived there in 1989, and he called me to his office. He says, "Young man, it's good to have you here on transfer, mutual transfer. But indeed, I must share something with you that I know everything about you." And that's how thorough he was. But he mentioned one soft area which shook me. And to date, when I met Trevor and Dad not so long ago at the municipal offices, we took out a picture. He remembered me so well, Trevor. And he says to me, the reason why I accepted you at Woodview Primary School was not because you were an educator. It's because my sister and your mum sell at the morning market in Durban. I was shocked. Look at that. And then for me, I said, hey, all hell will break loose because he knows everything about me. So I couldn't stay away from school. I stand before you as the current principal of Woodview Primary School, living and practicing the professional life of a great martyr. When I told the staff this morning, and as yesterday we had a circuit meeting in Standard Bank Kingsmead, I said that I will be speaking at the funeral of my leader. I sometimes want to wonder, what is the people of today and the leadership of today and the metal of the yesteryear? The good aspect was, I did meet Mr. Pungan many years ago, prior to me arriving at Woodview Primary School. I was an educator at Wild Memorial, which is the upper Inanda of the area. And Sir has obviously come from the tea estate area, which is not so far from here. And those were indeed that training ground of great leadership under the auspices of great sacrifice in life. No shoes, on the farm, and no complaints. I remember in a staff meeting, and one of my colleagues is here, Mr. Brandville, who is currently the Skylark principal. He told us in a staff meeting, and I want to reminisce on one important person who is not here probably. That's Mr. Munyan, who is away in, I think, the United States. And he was in the school at that time as well, and he was a HOD, now we have them as departmental heads. And he mentioned, he said, Mr. Ramsuru, if you follow the precepts and the principles of Mr. Pungan, you must wear a tie, wear a coat whenever you walk into his office. And I remember he had the old Mercedes there. When he drives in, everybody stands to military attention. And I must share that when I was going through his resume, which was published and not so long ago, as honoring our aged in the local newspaper, I quickly took a pic of this and I sent it to Mr. Pongan on his WhatsApp. He says, "Sonny boy, I need a copy." But then somehow, I think Sandra managed to get a copy and give it to me. Am I correct? So I'm in touch with my mentor, my great leader, all the time. I want to share something with you. He did mention to me you must continue studying when I was at Woodview Primary School. And I went on doing that. And you know, when I look back, when he retired in 1992, there was the then deputy principal of the school, Mr. Appleson. Doreen, do you remember? And he passed on a few years ago. And John used to say to me, he said, you know, be a deputy principal like him. I said, sir, but I'm just a level 1 teacher. He said, I'm telling you. And lo and behold, in 1997, I moved from a level 1 position to a principalship of Woodview Primary School, which I'm currently holding and will exit in 3 months. But let's come back to the life and celebration of John. I looked at his resume and then I picked up all his qualifications correctly, sir. All the institutes that he went. And I also saw that he moved away from T Estate to be closer to Vernon, where he lived until most recently. And all the degrees and accomplishments that stand out in celebration of an honorable man. In one meeting, I recollect, some of us were the youngsters who were the noisy bunch at the back. And to stand to attention, he said, would you stand up, please? Mention all the audiovisual aids in the school. Believe you me, if you missed out one, that was the end of your math notch. And believe you me, he was a great man. Of someone you could emulate and take on. I must agree with Mr. Vaiburi that in the modern world of AI, intelligence, and all the other modern scripts that you can write, I said that I will speak from my heart. I want to share his life very briefly with you at Woodview Primary School. I did not see Mr. Pungan on any day at the institution calling you out if he did not have to speak to you. Because you are prim, proper, and executed your function accordingly. There was no discussion. There was no deviation. There was no opportunity to cross the lane. You had a straight path, and that's what you were brought up with. I want to share with you that the biggest project that he held at Woodview Primary School was the building of the swimming pool, which at that time was a total luxury. But being Woodview and the community of Woodview, Mr. Pungan went along and agreed to that. I, to date, acknowledge at that stage in 1990, the bull cost 120,000 rands. Trades like no money. But in those days, to raise 120,000 rands was, you cannot think of it actually. But under the auspices of Mr. Pungan, that money was raised, and that bull stands as a testimony to his great achievement. The good thing was, not so long ago, and Mum Doreen will tell us, I was going through the annals of history of the school, and I picked up and found, and I'm a believer of history, Mr. John Pungan's prep cast and his monk book. I put it in an envelope, and I got it across to Mum and Dad. And he said, oh my gosh, he always wrote the black pen, big pen, and the flick to the right, and the logbook entries were accurate. But for me to give back his prep book in great detail, with all the audiovisual aids and the methodologies, that in the then time when it was difficult to teach, exemplary. We can take a leaf of it today in modern education. I could go on, but the key area that also stands out was, we remember him for being such a caring, supportive professional who placed his work above all else. He hardly stayed away from school. If not, I remember him not taking leave and being there. And as Mr. Vaikuli correctly mentioned, I lived in that era as well, where the Gabriel Crofts lived. They were the taskmasters of them. And Mr. Croft simply celebrated Mr. Pungan's achievement as a school principal. Then we find that his humanitarian and philanthropic commitment to improve the lives under his care is noted with admiration. I do know, as mentioned in various presentations this morning, that he presented and was highly involved in the Viral Daycare and the Frail Center. I'm also aware of his tenets as the bowling club in Caylins and all other participations. But let's go one step further. You know, when someone is not here, we merely take the memories and go on. But in leadership and in celebration of the individual's life, we must take his qualities and emulate it. And that's a hallmark of celebrating someone that has passed. My heartfelt thanks go to the Pongan family and Woodview Primary School, the school governing body, the chairperson, Mr. Ramkisu, the members of staff, management, and I did see Mr. Christy Pillay, the second manager here, a short while ago, Dev, and who is our second manager in Phoenix North, we all convey to the Pungan family, Mum, to all of you, our condolences. Remember, he still has a fundamental role in spirit to play, a major role at Woodview Primary School. For that legacy, we will celebrate and remember his life. Thank you.
Thank you for those beautiful words, Mr. Ramsaru. Ladies and gentlemen, you will notice that there's so much to be said. The reason why I'm putting in so many speakers and reading so many messages is we have a time that is constrained, and we would like to complete as much as we can, because at 1:45, we will have to prepare for our exit from the daycare center. Mr. Prem Ramsaru, they say, true leaders don't create followers. True leaders create leaders, and that's what Mr. Pongan did. He created more leaders, and you are testimony to them. And if one has to look at his leadership, as I mentioned earlier, it was an inimitable, a unique style of leadership. You also spoke about his prepcast. Remember, methodology, ladies and gentlemen, that we adopt in teaching, methodology is the domain of the educator inside that classroom, within the four walls of that classroom. So methodology is the domain of the teacher, and the principal will always remain a teacher at heart. And embracing and managing change is most certainly the domain of the visionary principal. And Mr. John Pongan was indeed a visionary principal. There was one lady by the name of Helen Keller, who became blind at a very young age. She once stated, "I'd rather be blind than have sight without vision." And John was a man who was blessed with extraordinary vision. Mr. Pongan did all this, but his unwavering commitment to serve saw him transcend the boundaries of the school campus to occupy many pivotal leadership positions in community organizations. Founder member of Verulam Retired Teachers Association Society, founder member of Verulam Historical Society and Documentation Center, instrumental in establishing the Verulam Museum and Documentation Center, involved in numerous corporate social investment programs, social outreach, feeding the poor, feeding the destitute, and assisting those that are trapped in the powerlessness of poverty. Introducing literary classes for the disadvantaged by introducing the adult basic education and training classes called ABET. He was a patron, executive and member of Verulam Child and Family Welfare. Management member of Verulam Blind and Deaf Society, Vice Chair and Chairman of the Verulam Day and Frail Care Center, Chairman of Verulam Bowling Club, and for 11 years he was the chairperson there from its inception. He was a patron of the Verulam Sports Council, member of the Verulam Civic Association, and in 2007 he was the recipient of the Presidential Award from Verulam Sports Council. A man whose resume, as Verulam Sarup said, speaks for itself, ladies and gentlemen. At this juncture, I ask for Shane to lead us into two more songs, and thereafter Reagan will address us. Dear friends and relatives, as I mentioned earlier, there are a number of messages that have come from various different organizations. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, I will not be able to read all. But suffice it to say, ladies and gentlemen, we acknowledge the kind sentiments that were expressed in all of this. The Veteran Day and Trail Care Center, I'll try to read a little of each. The Board of Management, staff, volunteers, and our most loving elders express our deepest condolences to you and your family, Mrs. Doreen Pungan, on the passing of your beloved husband and father to the Pongan family, Mr. G. Pungan. We at the Veteran Daycare and Trail Center were blessed to be touched by this great soul. His caring heart made him conspicuous in the hearts of the less fortunate and the elderly. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, I'm reading snippets, but there will be opportunity on the 1st of June when the 16th day memorial, the Atma Shanti, or the Karumadi Pratana takes place. And I can assure you that these will be put aside and it will be read in detail. This comes from the Veteran Child and Family Welfare, from Mr. Ken Raju, the Honorary Vice President, and it comes on behalf of the management and staff of the Veteran Child and Family Welfare Society. The Society recalls with pride its long association with Mr. Pongan, well over 4 decades, 21 years of which he served as a member of the management committee. He also served with dedication as a member of the executive committee and chairperson of the Social Work Committee for many years. The late Mr. Pongan touched our lives with his warmth, his humility and simplicity, his greatness, his gentleness, his love, and his keen sense of humor, and above all, his compassion for the disadvantaged and his deep concern for the welfare of all. During the years he gave instinctively of his time, he carried out his duties conscientiously and responsibly, always demonstrating a magnificent team spirit, genuine camaraderie, and a deep compassion to serve the underprivileged in our communities. In our interaction with him, we are genuinely impressed by his knowledge, by his expertise, by his wise views, his clear reasoning, and the diplomacy with which he handled many a situation. He earned our respect for firmly standing his ground when it came to his beliefs. He established a marital relationship with his wife Doreen that no doubt serves as a model for his family and the community. We pay tribute to Ms. Doreen Pongan for unwavering emotional support, for encouragement and the space to allow John to helplessly serve the underprivileged in our society. This is so very true, ladies and gentlemen. Wait not for Doreen Auntie, whom in the early days you should fondly refer to as Lassie. It was Doreen Auntie that allowed him that opportunity to be with the people that he served. And he loved serving, just like his late father, who hailed from Tiruvallur in South India. His late father, Pungan was a man who also looked after the interests of others. You know, when you look at a man like John, you begin to believe that compassion is where it's not just a feeling of kindness. Compassion is where you are able to feel the other person's pain in your heart. And John did just that when it came to social welfare and in all the other institutions that he served. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, we are interconnected by millions of fibers, and like sympathetic threads, our actions run as causes and they come back to us as effects. And Jonathan, who grew up on the farm, humble beginnings, a humble soul, humble to the bone, like his late parents, but at the same time, a spirit of tenacity, a spirit that could change adversity into opportunity. And he did just that by using education as a tool to break free of the fetters not only of colonialism, but of the apartheid regime. And we too, we took a page out of his book and we all followed suit. And we have more than about 20 to 25 of us who have served as principals, deputies, heads of department, and in various other roles in the education system. Talking about that, John and I launched this book together with the other members of the family. And that book, remember, ladies and gentlemen, books, and we love books. Whether it was Bobby and James and Billy and Billionaire's room was full of books. We love books, and books are repositories of human thoughts. Books are repositories of human experiences, creativity, and achievement. And the Pungan family book, ladies and gentlemen, is important in preserving our lineage, our culture, and our tradition. You know, education, expertise, skills, knowledge, these things you can acquire. But what runs in your brains? Genetics is something hereditary, ladies and gentlemen. And we are proud of that book. Tracing family roots back through generations can help a person connect more deeply with a sense of self by learning about their family past, where they came from, who they were, what type of people were they, what they did, what kind of character traits did they demonstrate, the trials that they overcame, the tribulations that they confronted in their lives. And let me tell you, Pongan and his good wife Toy confronted numerous trials and tribulations in their stay whilst they were here in this country. And also, this book tells us about their accomplishments of every family member, their achievements, and the dreams that they dream. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not being boastful here, John and I was a trailblazer. That is why that book is replete with youngsters with caps and gowns, MBAs, doctorates, BA, BEd, biomedical technology, science, biomedical science, and various other fields of expertise. Too many to mention, ladies and gentlemen, but that book is replete with the accomplishments of the Pongan genealogy. At this juncture, Regan, I'm sorry, I've been calling you so many times. Regan will now speak to you, ladies and gentlemen, followed immediately by Bill.
Thank you, Uncle Kriba. Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, family, friends, and colleagues. Thank you for taking the time today to honor my amazing granddad, Mr. John Pongan. I'm Regan Valivelu, the eldest grandchild to my maternal grandparents. There is a phenomenon I understand as shared grief when family and friends come together to sit, listen, pay tribute, and honor a departed soul. And in this case, my precious granddad. Nothing comes close to being surrounded by so many people who love and care. Each one of you here today probably has a fond memory or two to share of my beloved granddad, and has a story of how he touched your lives. Knowing that makes our journey a little bit more bearable. My granddad's passing, or Papa's passing, was inevitable. Our family has been subconsciously preparing for this day for a bit. But I can honestly say nothing can truly prepare you for loss. To me, Papa was a legend and my hero. Every person's life that he touched can attest to the great man he was. 93 is an amazing innings in any book, and I am eternally grateful to God that he blessed me with so many joyous years with Papa. Papa remained in a strong and coherent state of mind right up until his very last moments. He had a peaceful passing, surrounded by loved ones, fitting and indicative of the life he lived. My granddad lived a well-rounded, dignified and righteous life, one that the younger generation can learn from. He skillfully steered his ship with courage and determination through much struggle and hardship and achieved every single goal he set out for himself, kindly sharing all his achievements with his family. His rich life experiences, struggles, and lessons have become the core of our family. He didn't stress more than he needed, always trusting the universe to balance things out naturally. He appeared stern to the world, but to his family, friends, and grandchildren, he was a delight, kind, loving man. If I could describe him in one word, it would be solid. There's nothing better than taking leadership from someone steadfast, strong, and mostly solid. Papa shaped me and all the children of this family. We are proud to call him our granddad and father. As Isaac Newton once said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of a giant. I have stood on your shoulders since forever past. You are my gentle giant. The wisdom you have passed on to us will remain the treasure of this family. You are larger than life, and you will forever be a beacon of light to each one of us. You bestow deep, compassionate, and unconditional love to all of us, and it's that love that will carry us through the rest of our lives. 111 Todd Street is more than an address. It's the heartbeat of our family. This is a place where we created our most cherished memories, and where the most delightful stories were made. Papa, thanks to you and Mama, we all have the memories that will remain more than a lifetime. One fond memory of Papa was how special he would make guests feel at his home. He believed that his guests were as good as God, and he showed his hospitality by always ensuring that he personally dressed down the beds for any guest to stay the night at his home. He even went as far as making the bed the next morning, just to show his warmth and hospitality. That very small gesture made every guest feel special. In addition, you could count on there being a freshly brewed pot of tea when you awoke. He shared his love for tea with everyone who graced his home. Papa was the best teacher. Even though he taught me so much, he didn't teach me how to live without him. Yet, it's so painful and humbling. It teaches us what is important. It makes us value time. It gives us a newfound respect for life. All you leave behind are memories. If there's one thing I will take out of his book, it is the confidence and determination with which he made decisions and the unwavering faith he had in the universe to align his life. Papa, you lived a sterling life. I am proud to call myself your grandson. Thank you for making my childhood and adulthood so meaningful and profound. There are so many things I wish I could say to you now. I wish I had one more hour with you to listen, to say thank you. Thank you for every quiet moment, every piece of wisdom, every act of love that you gave without asking for anything yourself. Thank you for being proud of me, even when I didn't always believe in myself. Thank you for being someone I could look up to. Not because you were perfect, but because you were real, kind, and mostly good. Rest well, dear Papa, the patriarch of our family. Your life was a testament to purpose, principle, and quiet strength. As a devoted teacher and a respected school principal, you shaped not only the lives of your students, but the fabric of community you served. You guided countless young men and women, helping them find direction, confidence, and a sense of possibility. Yours was a life of service to your family, your school, your community. You led with wisdom, compassion, and dignity, earning the respect and admiration of all who knew you. For us, you were more than a father and a grandfather. You were a teacher of life, a moral compass, and a constant source of inspiration. Though your voice has fallen silent, your influence echoes in the lives you touched, the lessons you taught, and the generations you continue to guide through the legacy you leave behind. We honor you now and always. You and Mama have taken care of each other with the utmost love, patience, and respect for 66 cherishable years. You may rest well now as that journey continues, knowing that through your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, who were there with all their heart and the values and virtues that you have instilled in them, will care for Mama in the same spirit that you have. I love you with all my heart. May Lord Shiva bless you, guide you.
Mr. John Pongan's spontaneous demonstration of respect, his spontaneous demonstration of love and benevolence to all that he met during his lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, it speaks volumes. And even the grandchildren, everyone is overcome with grief, and a man who really stood tall amongst his peers, a man who was really a trailblazer when it came to pushing boundaries, and as Regan says, in believing that this life is a life of endless possibilities. In Afrikaans say die appel val nie ver van die boom af. In Tamil we say totil padakkum sudagaattam. What's bred in the bone will come out in the flesh. And the truth is, the children are all erudite scholars. Sandra was notched up a number of accolades in terms of public administration, the mayoral awards, the presidential award for clean municipality and administration. Michelle, who runs her own laboratory, and Trevor, Claude, Bev, who's really making a mark in terms of education, in the field of education. It is now my pleasure to call to the podium Bev will speak to you. Beverly Pongan, ladies and gentlemen, Beverly Naidu.
Daddy, it's hard to believe you are no more. I wish this was all a horrible nightmare, but the reality is that you are gone, Daddy. Words are not enough to express the deep hole that you have left in our hearts. I'm speaking today because I know my dad would have wanted me to speak. A tribute to my dad, my hero. My dad was a man of unparalleled integrity. He believed in doing the right thing, even when it was hard to be or unpopular. His honesty and strong moral compass were clear in everything he did, from his career to his relationships with family and friends. He taught us that integrity isn't just about honesty. It's about being true to yourself and your beliefs. Thank you, Dad. At his core, Dad was a family man. His love for family was a beautiful example of partnership and commitment. He definitely was a man beyond his time, as he would without hesitation assist Mommy with the dishes, the laundry, or even the household chores. Mommy and Daddy had a bond built on respect, understanding, and unwavering support. As a father, he was patient, kind, and always there for us whenever we needed him. He never missed a milestone and was always so proud of everything we accomplished, no matter how little it was. Every birthday, every Christmas, and every family get-together was a time my dad loved and enjoyed the most. Speeches were the order of the day, and Daddy was always eager to start the ball rolling. Today, Kriyan and little Pia continue that grand tradition of making speeches whenever we got together. I will never forget our last trip to Drakensberg in the summer of 2024 with my dad and mom. At 93, he was keen to make the annual family trip, saying to me, "Babe, I'm tired, but I like to go." I drove most of the way, and the roads were hectic. Daddy never complained, just sat there making the best of the situation, and I tried driving, I think, at about 20 to make it more bearable. What a champion he was, and what an inspiration. Dad had a way of giving advice without making it sound like a lecture. His words were thoughtful and rooted in experience, whether it was about dealing with life's ups and downs or making important decisions. His advice was always spot on. Again, a man beyond his time. Never once did my dad dictate to us or make decisions for us, but rather allowed us to navigate through life on our own terms, while he closely stood by, ready to catch us if we fell. Daddy would spend most Saturdays in between his busy schedule, driving Rish and I to school, events, modeling classes, or just trips to the beach, or drives to Durban and Umhlanga. Dad was always our biggest supporter, our best friend, and no was never in his vocabulary. I can safely say that my dad lived for us. Dad, and through it all you smiled and never once let us down. One of the most important lessons Dad has ever taught us was to find joy in small, everyday things. Whether it was a quiet evening at home, a family dinner, or a walk in the park, he showed us the beauty in the little things that make life special. Those moments he believed which made us happy and fulfilled. Thank you, Daddy. Daddy, we will miss you. We will miss your beautiful smile, your kind heart, and you sitting in your favorite chair, switching channels, waiting for your favorite program, writing in your diary entry about everything that happened at home, who came in and what they did and what they said, and scrolling through your phone. Gosh, I marvel at the ease in which you took to social media. I think you had more Facebook friends than I actually wasn't on Facebook. You were truly a man of all seasons. I loved how you smiled whenever we stayed over at home, and how you would get up early in the morning and have our tea ready. Daddy, we will miss you, but today we honor you and we celebrate you. Even though my dad isn't with us physically, his legacy lives in the values he has instilled in us all. So let us strive to honor his memory by living a life of integrity, showing love and kindness to others, and finding joy in simple things. His influence is woven into who we are, and I'm forever grateful for the time I shared with you, Dad. As I reflect on my dad's life, I can't help but feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He wasn't just an amazing father, he was an incredible human being. His love, wisdom, and strength continue to guide us all, and his memory is a source of comfort and inspiration. Even though he's gone, his spirit lives on in those he has touched, and his legacy will always be a part of me. Dad, we miss you so much. I really, and I speak for everyone here, I don't know how we're going to make it through each day. God knows how we want to hug you and tell you we love you. Your life was a gift, Dad, and your memory forever will be a treasure. Love you, and go well and rest well. You have an amazing family waiting for you. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Beverly. Ladies and gentlemen, having listened to Bev and listened to other members of the family and listening to the eulogies that were presented, you know that Mr. John Pongan didn't only teach other people's children. Even when he came to his own children, he has done a remarkable job. You know, they say it's not what we teach our children that sets them apart and defines them as successful individuals. It's not what we teach our children. It's what we teach our children to do for themselves that really defines them in the years to come. And that is so true in the case of Dad. And his love for the mountains, especially that Drakensberg mountain. Remember, the Valley of 1,000 Hills starts in Podengezi, in Marinhill, and it begins to pick up through the Inanda area, and it finally culminates in the Drakensberg. And Daddy was as majestic as that. Those birds, silent, stoic, and always we associate mountains with wisdom. Silent wisdom that has seen generations come and generations go. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask each member of the Pongan family, the family of Velen, Pungan Velen and his good wife Toi, their children, their siblings. But since they are all passed, and John was the last in that bastion of very strong people, he was the last one standing. John and I, we will ask for members of each family to come forward, and Ruben will pass out roses to you, and you will offer your rose into the casket to show your respect to Taimam and I, Tiruvala Periyar, Madipukuriya Periyar, John Govindsamy Pungan, Bobby Kistan, Anand Munsamy, Skinny Pungan, Jayshri Pungan. If Lumi is here, is Lumi here? Jayshri, Tuven Adipulam, then Muthusamy, if you can please come forward. Burma, Ratnasamy Vayapuri, Ivan Kanya, Terry Perumal. Ladies and gentlemen, as Ruben just intimated to me now, there are 10 chapters in that beautiful book written on the family tree, the genealogy of the Pongan Kistan dynasty. And we are asking for 9 to come, because the 10th one, ladies and gentlemen, I will ask for John and his family. There will be 30 of them who will also be given the opportunity to come and offer their roses. We are constrained for time, and Madhupukuri Progidarai here, Samaran Saruves is also present, and he will do the final rites for Mr. Govindsamy John Pongan before we exit from this auditorium to the Babylon crematorium. Whilst those roses of gratitude are being offered, ladies and gentlemen, to say Nandri, Nandri. Remember, gratitude is the memory of the heart. Gratitude makes sense of our past, and it brings peace for today and creates a vision for tomorrow. And when one looks at gratitude or thankfulness, it is the memory of the heart. It unlocks the fullness of life, and it turns what we have into enough. Gratitude turns what we have into not just enough, but even more. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Each of them are registering their debt of gratitude to Uncle who really stood the test of time, but at the same time left an indelible mark in their lives. Tuven, Claren is here, Claren Adipulam, if you could come forward. Dorinati and members of John's immediate family will now also offer their flowers.
எல்லோருக்கும் அன்பு கலந்த வணக்கம், நமஸ்காரம். காலன் சென்ற ஆத்மா திருவாளர் கோவிந்த்சாமி பங்கன் ஜோன் என்றும் அழைக்கப்பட்ட இந்த ஆத்மாவின் சார்பில் நாம் அனைவரும் கடைசி மரியாதையும் பிரார்த்தனை செலுத்த நாம் இங்கு கூடியிருக்கின்றோம். இந்த நேரத்தில் நாம் ஆண்டு அழுது கொண்டால் இந்த ஆண்டு உயிர் மீண்டும் வரப்போவதில்லை. ஆனால் நாம் எவ்வளோ பிரார்த்தனை செய்கின்றோமோ மாண்ட இந்த உயிருக்கு மட்டுமில்லாமல் இந்த குடும்பத்தாருக்கும் பயனுள்ளதாக இருக்கும் என்று நாம் கருதுகின்றோம். எனவே நாம் வாழும் இந்த கலியுகத்தில் முக்கியமாக ஆண்டவனை மறவாமல் தினமும் நாம் பிரார்த்தனை செலுத்தி வந்தால் ஓதாமல் ஒரு நாளும் இருக்க வேண்டாம் என்று பழமொழி போல, அதுவும் மட்டுமில்லாமல் நம்மை சுற்றி இருக்கும் குடும்பம், உற்றார், உறவினர் நமக்கு இயன்ற அளவில் நாம் சேவை செய்து வந்தால் நிச்சயமாக நமக்கு இந்த நாள் வரும் பொழுது ஆண்டவனது மோட்ச கதவை திறந்து எங்களுக்கும் அந்த மோட்ச நிலை கொடுப்பார் என்று நாம் நம்புகின்றோம். Our greetings to your family and friends. We do have some time restraints, so we're going to ask the family to offer their roses. But in the meantime, I'm going to ask the rest of you to please rise, and we can conclude with final prayer.
Samudio. Yeah, in that stand here. I'm just going to continuously turn, right? Camphor you have with you?
Let's keep our palms together and close our eyes for seconds, please. பாரங்கம் நிறைந்தும் பரந்தாமணி ஆதி முதற் பொருள் எல்லா ஜீவாத்மாக்களின் உள்ளக நிறந்தே அம்மையப்பனே கிருபாகர மூர்த்தியே நாமனின் கூடி காலன் சென்ற ஆத்மா திரள் கோவிந்த்சாமி ஆத்மாவின் சார்பில் துவஷ பிரார்த்தி நாம் செலுத்தினோம். தேவாதிதேன் ஆத்மா இந்த உலகத்தில் வாழும் பொழுது அவர் செய்து நல்ல வேலை ஏற்றுக்கொண்டு தீவினைகள் எல்லாம் மன்னித்து அந்த ஆத்மாவுக்கு நன்கதையும் சாந்தியும் கொடுத்து மேலாம் பதவி 4ஆம் பதவி சாட்ச பதவி தந்து எல்லா விதத்திலும் பூர்ண சாந்தி கொடுப்பீர்கள் என்று நாம் பிரார்த்திக்கின்றோம். சர்வ கருணாகரனே, உம்மை தவிர வேறு ஆதரவில்லை, வேறு கதி இல்லை. உம்முடைய பாதார விண்ணங்களுக்கு பன்முறை வந்தனம் வந்தனம் வந்தனம். ஓம் திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். கல்லா பிழையும் கருதா பிழையும் கசிந்துருகி நில்லா பிழையும் நினையா பிழையும் நின்னைந்தெழுத்தே சொல்லா பிழையும் துதியா பிழையும் தொழா பிழையும் எல்லா பிழைகளையும் பொறுத்தருவாய் அச்சேரும். ஓம் திருச்சிற்றம்பலம்.
for your messages of condolences, as well as your floral tributes, and, of course, your presence here, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Doreen Pungan and the extended John Pongan family, Mikka Mikkanan, thank you. And thank you to our Providal, Samalan Saragasar, and Sheikh Govindsamy and his team for rendering this service to me. Our gratitude also goes out to the Pine Town funeral undertakers for the professional manner in which they are conducting today's schedule. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Shivaya Namo. Shivaya Namo. Shivaya Namo. Om Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Namo. Shivaya Namo. Shivaya Namo. Om Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Namo. Shivaya Namo. Shivaya Namo. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Om Katpurdubam Dudevam Kalanchannatma Thiral Govindsamy Atmaviன் சார்பில் துவிஷ பிரார்த்தனை சமர்ப்பியாமி. பச்சை மாமலை போல் மேனி பௌர்வாய் கமலச் செங்கண் அச்சுதாமரியேரே ஆயிர்த்தம் குழந்தே என்னும் இச்சு வைத்தவனையான் போய் இது லோகமாலும் அச்சுவை பெரினும் வேண்டேன் அரண்கண்மா நகருளானே. நாராயணாய வித்மஹி வாசுதேவாய தீமஹி தன்னோ விஷ்ணும் பிரச்சோதயாம். सर्वेन्द्रनाम संकीर्तनम गोविंदा 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 गोविंदा.
you got the keys.
Okay, don't just give me the fruit, ma. Give me the fruit for me. What have you got? Better not came out. Give me some flowers there. Govindsamy, please. Take out the other. Take this and go.
சென்றாத்மா திருவால் கோவிந்தசாமி ஆத்மாவின் சார்பில் துவிஷ்ய பிரார்த்தனை சமர்ப்பியாமி. சுக்லம் வரதரம் விஷ்ணும் சசிவர்ணம் சதுர்புஜம் பிரசன்னவதனம் தியாயே சர்வ விக்னோபசாந்தயே. கஜானனம் பூதகணாதிசேவிதம் கபித்த ஜம்புபலசார பக்ஷிதம் உமாசுதம் சோக விநாசகாரணம் நமாமி விக்னேஸ்வர பாதமங்கஜம். தத்புருஷாய வித்மஹி வக்ரதுண்டாய தீமஹி தன்னோ தந்தி பிரச்சோதயாத். ஓம் கம் கணேஷாய நமஹ. ஓம் கௌரி புத்ராய நமஹ. ஓம் லம்போதராய நமஹ. ஓம் ஏகதந்தாய நமஹ. ஓம் வக்ரதுண்டாய நமஹ. ஓம் கணபதயே நமஹ. ஓம் கஜஸ்பதயே நமஹ. ஓம் விகடாய நமஹ. ஓம் விமலாய நமஹ. ஓம் விக்னராஜாய நமஹ. ஓம் கஜகர்ணாய நமஹ. ஓம் ஏரம்பாய நமஹ. ஓம் தர்மகேதுவே நமஹ. ஓம் விக்னேஸ்வராய நமஹ. ஓம் ஸ்ரீ மகாகணபதயே நமஹ. Break it up in your tongue. You see poetry after each time and you shower on the text. ஓம் கற்றவர்கள் உண்ணும் கனியே போற்றி. கழல் அணிந்தார் செல்லும் கதியே போற்றி. அற்றவர்கட்கு ஆரமுதுமானாய் போற்றி. அல்லல் அறுத்தடியேனை ஆண்டாய் போற்றி. மற்றொரு ஒப்பில்லா மைந்தா போற்றி. வானவர்கள் போற்றும் மருந்தே போற்றி. செற்றவர் தம் புறம் எரித்த சிவனே போற்றி. திருமுலற்றானே போற்றி. மலையான் மடந்தை மணாலா போற்றி. மழவிடையாய் நின் பாதம் போற்றி. நிலையாக என் நெஞ்சில் நின்றாய் போற்றி. நெற்றி மேல் ஒற்றைக் கண் உடையாய் போற்றி. செங்கனகத் தனிகுன்ற சிவனே போற்றி. திருமுலற்றானே போற்றி. பொன்னியலும் மேனியனை போற்றி. பூத படை உடையாய் போற்றி. சென்னிமிசை வெண்பிறையாய் சோதி போற்றி. திருமுலற்றானே போற்றி. Now keep your palms together. I want you to walk around us. ஓம் பச்சை மாமலை போல் மீனி பவளவாய் கமலச் செங்கண் அச்சுதாமரையேரே ஆயர்த்தம் விழுந்தே என்னும் இச்சுவைத்தவனியான் போ இந்த லோகமாலும் அச்சுவை பெரினும் வேண்டேன் அரங்கன்மா நகருளானே. சர்வநாம சங்கீர்த்தனம். கோவிந்தா 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 கோவிந்தா. All brothers come forward, please.
All brothers come through.
You on either side.
Come guys, all brothers. So guys, we're going to pick up in place here. We're going to wheel it here. Come walk right down right here. Huh?
You'll watch the step here.
Walk right down again.
Shankara, Siva Shankara, Siva Shankara, Siva Shankara, Shankara, Siva Shankara, Siva Shankara, Siva Shankara, Shankara, Siva Shankara, Siva
Shankara Siva Shankara Shankara Siva Shankara Siva Shankara Siva Shankara மற்று பாற்றனக்கின்றினின் திருப்பாதமே மனம் பாவித்தேன் பெற்றலும் பீரத்தேனினி பீர வதத்தல்மி வந்தேதினேன் கற்றவர் தொழுது ஏத்தும் சீர் கரையூரில் பாண்டி கொடுமுடி நற்றவா உண்மை நான் மறக்கினும் சொல்லும் நான் நமச்சிவாயவே 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 நமச்சிவாய நமச்சிவாயவே 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 நமச்சிவாய ஓடிய கீரை சுனியை கரையூரில் பாடி கொடுமுடி பெரிய பெருமானில் பித்தனே பிறக்கும் இல்லையே மாருளாவரி மண்டரை கொள்கை காரணி படமாமணி நானடி துண்டன் ஊரன் சொல்வே சொல்லுவாக்கில்லை துன்பமே சங்கரா சிவ சங்கரா சிவ சங்கரா சிவ சங்கரா சங்கரா சிவ சங்கரா சிவ சங்கரா சிவ சங்கரா சங்கரா சிவ சங்கரா சிவ சங்கரா சிவ சங்கரா சங்கரா சிவ சூரநாரணே பரமேசா சிவகவி நாயக ஜகதீசா தூக்கிய பாதவ அமரகணேசா ஆண்டவர் நடராஜா சிவ ஆண்டவர் நடராஜா விபூதி சுந்தரனே சங்கரா ஈஸ்வரிதாசன சுந்தரா சிவகாமி மகேஸ்வரனே அம்பல பெருமானே விபூதி சுந்தரனே சங்கரா ஈஸ்வரிதாசன சுந்தரா சிவகாமி மகேஸ்வரனே அம்பல பெருமானே சூலதாரணே பரமேசா சிவகவி நாயக ஜகதீசா சூலதாரணே பரமேசா சிவகவி நாயக ஜகதீசா தூக்கிய மாதவ அமர கணேசா நடராஜா தூக்கிய மாதவ அமர கணேசா தாண்டவ நடராஜா சிவ தாண்டவ நடராஜா சிவ தாண்டவ நடராஜா பூதி சுந்தரனே சங்கரா ஈஸ்வரிதாசன சுந்தரா சிவகாமி மகேஸ்வரனே அம்பல பெருமானே